Ainhoa, welcome to the Leadership Summit 2020. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Thank you, Shona. Thank you so much for inviting me to the summit and allowing me to share my story, my message, and the tools that I love to put in service to people. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible to have you here. So let me share with the audience who it is that we're going to be speaking today, which is absolutely incredible. So Dr. Ainhoa de Federico is a professor at the University of Toulouse, and this is where she teaches natural vision improvement. After 15 years of research and experience with her own method, she created the system called the Clear Sight Method. So since 2016, she has created the first and leading online program in Spanish, allowing people to see clear with their own eyes, without glasses or surgery. 1 million people in over 200 countries have taken a free training, and she has thousands of students in over 40 countries, which is so exciting. Ainhoa will tell us about her personal and professional journey today with the method that she's created called the Clear Sight Method. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Shona, for this nice presentation. Thank you very much. Well, so a lot of people very often tell me, like, natural vision improvement, it's possible to see clear with your own eyes again, without glasses, without surgery. How come I did never hear about it? Did you make it up? Did you invent it? And maybe I have to start from the beginning of my own personal story. And no, I did not invent natural vision improvement. I do have my own method, but natural vision improvement has been around for 100 years, actually 2020, which is almost a pun. The year 2020 is the 100th anniversary of the publishing of Dr. Bates's works. Dr. Bates was an American ophthalmologist, and he was the one who pioneered the research on natural vision improvement, and well, who created the first methods to work with it and to give your eyes, again, the ability to see clear without the necessity of glasses or surgery. Yeah, so this year we are celebrating, in the 2020 year, for a perfect and clear vision, we are celebrating the anniversary. But how do I discover natural vision improvement? In a way, it was like Obélix et Astérix. European people will know what I'm talking about because they have been widely translated. And well, these characters in this
I love Obelix.
Yeah, well, he fell into the pot of the magic of the magic beverage, and so he had special powers. He's very strong, and for me, I kind of fell into the pot of natural vision improvement almost since birth. The story is as follows: when I was born, I was very cross-eyed, so I looked like this. I had amblyopia in one eye, meaning that my brain did not consider any information coming from that eye. So I was blind with one eye, and I was very myopic, very short-sighted in the other eye. And when I was 6 months old, of course, my parents did notice that. It was so obvious. And we were visiting my grandparents in the south of Spain, in Granada. And my grandfather was a very renowned medical doctor, very prestigious, very well known. And my parents asked him, would you happen to know, because you're so well connected, an ophthalmologist that could help our child, so young? And then he recommended a professor at the University of Granada in the Department of Ophthalmology. And at that time, they already knew in the university that natural vision improvement existed, and it was possible to improve your eyesight, your vision, with exercises and stimulation of the eye. So they brought me to this doctor. And when she first saw me in, she was like, why do you bring me such a little baby? And then she looked at me closely and she said, it was such a good idea that he brought her so young, because she really is impaired, but we can do something about it. So she recommended a series of stimulation and exercises that my parents applied for me because, well, I was such a little kid. And by the time of my first birthday, I had perfect sight. I was able to see perfectly by day, by night, at far, near, with one eye, with the other eye. My eyes were straight. Everything was solved. Everything. And because this story was so marking for my family and so outstanding, this is one of the stories that my parents have kept telling me at my birthday about every year. They have 2, 3 stories that they tell me every time, and this is one of them.
Like good parents.
Yeah, you were born with strabismus and amblyopia and myopia, and we brought you, and then by the time you were 1, you had perfect sight. So I say this because, well, for one, I have known about vision improvement almost since birth, because it was one of my earliest experiences, and also because this story was told once and again for my birthday. This is like one of the origin stories in my family about me, that I am a person that has conquered perfect eyesight, and I grew with an identity, a very strong identity of someone who sees very well at all the distances, by night, by day. And it was part of my identity. It is part of my identity, my clear sight. This is why it's the name of the method now. So, and this is important because, well, people would tell me very often, oh, it's amazing how far you are able to see, or how well you can see at night. And yeah, that built my identity of clear sight. And when I was 23, I was already studying in France. I am originally from Spain. Hola a todos, os saludo desde México, desde Oaxaca. But I moved from Spain to France to continue my studies through a European exchange program. And the second year I was in France, one day I woke up and I saw double and very blurry. And I literally panicked. I was extremely afraid. All of a sudden, the day before I had my perfect clear sight, and the day after, everything was a blur, and I couldn't function. So I was so in panic that I called my mother, who was about 1,000 kilometers away. I don't know how much that is in miles, but far away and in another country. I called her. And I expressed all my fear, and I was, yes, and I see blurry, and I see double, and I'm so afraid. And my mother panicked even more than me. And she's like, don't call me to give me such news. I cannot do anything so far. Call an ophthalmologist. And I was like, of course, that's the good idea. That's the relevant thing to do. So because I was in such an anguish and anxiety and fear, I picked up the yellow pages. You can tell by this that it's a kind of old story. It's from the last century.
I grew up with the yellow pages too.
This was like in 1994 or 95, something like that. No, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, it was before the year 2000. And so I took the yellow pages and I started calling one ophthalmologist after another until one could give me the fastest and most immediate appointment, which wasn't really a good idea. I mean, if the practice was empty, probably there was a reason for it. I mean, you shouldn't ever go to empty restaurants. If they're empty, there's a reason. So anyway, but I was young, I was inexperienced, I was naive, and I was in a hurry and anguished. So I went immediately to this appointment. It was in the winter, and it was after 5, so it was already by night, and it was in an old building, very cold and with dim light. And so the situation was not very comfortable. And this person, this ophthalmologist, was not welcoming at all. I remember I was waiting for a long time. And then when it was my turn, he didn't even say hello. He didn't look at me. And when I told him, well, before I saw perfectly and today I see blurry and double, what happened? The question went in one ear, out the other.
So he didn't have a very good bedside manner at all.
No, and he wasn't interested in finding the cause. All he was interested in was putting me in front of a machine with lenses and numbers and letters of different sizes, and I should say when I would see best. And once I did, he wrote in a piece of paper that I had so many diopters degrees of myopia and so many diopters of astigmatism and diplopia. And I was like, okay, but what happened? Because yesterday I didn't have this. What's the cause? Then if we find the cause, we may find the solution. And he was like, buy glasses and that's it. So I was furious. I was frustrated. I was angry, and I felt inappropriate also. It was a horrible moment because I was very young. This guy was old, and he was the authority, and he was cold and distant. And it was difficult to say, there's a problem here. Okay, I have these symptoms, but again, what's the cause? Because I'm a person who sees clear by day, by night, far, near, etc. So
Yeah,
anyway,
we've all had that experience where we've been in situations where we're talking to an authority, and it's really hard. What do you say? Whether you're a man or a woman, do you speak up? Do you say anything? Do you complain? Do you not complain? A lot of people can relate to this.
yes, and I was foreign and young and a woman, and this guy was French and a guy and a doctor, and yeah, so there's an imbalance in the roles in the situation. So anyway, I followed the script and I just paid the consultation against my deep desire, but I did. I was polite and I left politely. But as soon as I was out the door, I destroyed the prescription, threw it to the trash, and I owned my empowered identity of a person that sees clear, and told myself, until I find the cause of what's happened, I will not buy glasses. Once I find the cause, well, if it's necessary, then I will. But first I need to find the cause and see if it's possible to solve it. Wow. So I threw this to the garbage. I went home and I was angry. Now the anger and the frustration was bigger than the anguish and the fear. So I found my way back home. And after I got home, I started calling my friends to release and express all the frustration. And then one of them, she said, well, Ainhoa, I don't know if my doctor will find the solution, but what I know is that he will look to understand what's happened, and maybe he will find the cause. I'm like, I buy that. I mean, at least someone who looks at me, who talks to me, who pays attention, who tries to understand, who explores the thing with me, and we'll see if what happens.
It shows you the importance of listening, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
being able to listen, even if you're there for a vision, what you really needed and wanted in that moment, really to communicate from one human being to another human being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, being taken as a person and not like as a customer that you're going to sell something to as quickly as possible. Yeah, and then an understanding what was the process that was happening. I mean, you don't turn with double vision and with astigmatism and myopia from one day to another without a cause. So anyway, I went to the second doctor and he gave me an appointment in the morning. So it was by day and it happened to be a sunny day. And his space was much more colorful and warm, and he was really welcoming and considerate, and he was really interested in understanding with me what was happening. So all kinds of elements that are important if you want to do any kind of coaching or any kind of supporting of the transformation and well-being of a person. So I told him the story that 2-3 days before I saw perfectly, and then I saw blurry and double, which was still true. So he listened to me carefully, he looked at me, he examined me, and after some time of taking time to understand, he said, well, young lady, what you have is sinusitis. Okay,
What?
yes. What? Yeah, and I hadn't noticed anything else as a symptom or a stuffed nose or fever or anything, no? Yes, you have sinusitis. So because of the sinuses and parasinuses that are around the eyes are inflamed, they're compressing the eyeball. And because they're compressing the eyeball, it's being deformed. And then there's these errors of refraction that have appeared. So the focusing is not clear, and you see blurry and you see double. And I'm like, okay, now I have a cause that makes sense. fine. So if the sinusitis is the problem, what is the solution? Well, take antibiotics for 7 days. And if in 7 days your eyesight is back to normal, then everything's fine. And if it's not, well, come back and we'll find out what else to do. So I took the antibiotics, 7 days, end of the story, and I never went back to the doctor. I thanked him, but end of the story. And I remember having thought, if I had listened to the first guy, and just because he, the authority, says so, even without understanding the cause, I would have put glasses on my nose, probably I would have worn glasses the rest of my life, because the eyes get used to the glasses. How many people have got their glasses a couple of weeks after their eyes were measured, and once they put the glasses on their eyes, they're like, are you sure that these glasses are for me? And they are told by the person selling them, yes, now your eyes have to get used to the glasses. If you have shoes that are made by measure for your feet, 2 weeks after your feet have been measured, you wouldn't accept not being able to walk with the shoes because they're harming your feet, right? They were made by measure for your feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, so how can people accept glasses that are, not corresponding to their eyes' needs? Well, the eyes were measured 2 weeks before the glasses were produced, and they had different tensions around them than when they get the glasses. Yeah? So I remember having thought, okay, if I had worn glasses, what the first guy told me, probably I would wear them all my life because the eyes get used to the glasses. And then I had a second thought. How many people may there be out there who maybe had stress, tension, or sinusitis, or whatever, some cause that would compress the eyeball for some reason, tension, pressure, whatever, and for a reason that maybe had an end, their vision was blurry. But if they were in such fear as me and with so much anxiety as me, and they rushed to the first professional that had space like me, but they didn't have the strong identity as a person who sees clear, they probably listened to this person and they bought glasses and put them on immediately, wearing them for life, when it was probably not necessary. Just like in my case, if you find a solution for the tension around the eyeball, end of the story, you don't need glasses. So I thought this, but I was young, I was onto my studies in sociology, and I was interested in other things at the time. So I went on with my projects and forgot about this. Fast forward 10 years, by then I was like 34, and I was already a professor at the University of Lille. At that time, I was a guest researcher and professor at the Autonomous University of Barcelona in Spain, where I was born, actually. And also, I was editing a special issue of a journal called International Sociology. So a scientific journal, one of the top journals in sociology. I was part of the editorial board and I was editing a special issue on identity, precisely. Yes. And so because I was editing this journal, I had lots of articles being sent to me. I had to evaluate them and send them to other evaluators. So I had to read lots of articles very quickly. And so I printed them like 2 pages in one so that I could read faster. So with smaller print. And well, because I am a person who sees clear by day, by night, close, near, small and big, etc. Well, that was my tactic. But once I started reading them, I would notice that I couldn't. I had to put the pages further away from me, which is something that is considered statistically normal after you're 40. 20 years ago, it was after you were 50. So we've been losing. Yes. So our habits have been making our vision worsen faster.
Wow.
But it's just a statistical tendency. It's not like a natural obligation. It's not determined. Everyone knows an old lady that's still able to put the thread in the needle after she's 90. So it's not an obligation. It's because of our habits, not because of genetic determination or something. So anyway, but I'm 34 and I'm having some problem that you're supposed to have after you're 40 or 50. And I felt like 20 years fell on my shoulders, my goodness. And then I was at the subway in Barcelona and I couldn't read the names of the stops either. So I couldn't read well near and I couldn't read well far. I'm like, okay, so third time that I have vision problems. But by then I knew that it was possible to improve your vision because I had done it already twice when I was a kid. With the help of my parents, with physical stimulation, with exercises, relaxation patches, etc. And the second time, it had been solved through chemical, biochemical, in this case, antibiotics. So it was solved as well. And so I thought, okay, I have this problem again, but I know it's solvable. Let's try it once more. And I gave myself 2 months to solve the vision problem. By then, I was already studying the body mirror relationship and how your consciousness and your emotions affect the well-being of your body and your health, and the hypothesis that you can consider your symptoms as messengers of something that you should straighten in your life.
Like the mind-body connection.
Exactly. And that, and that your body speaks what your soul hasn't been telling. Yeah.
And is that your emotions as well, your emotions?
Exactly, exactly. So because I was exploring this model of healing for a few years already, and it had been very successful with me in other parts of my body and areas of my experience, I thought, okay, I know that it's possible to cure your eyesight, to get back to your clear sight. So let's try this time through this emotional, psychosomatic, body-mind connection model. And so I gave myself a 2-month frame time, so that I would release the symptom in 2 months. If not, then I would consider wearing glasses. And so I took an appointment with an ophthalmologist. It was a woman this time, a different one, just to have the diagnosis, just to know what was going on, so that I could go to my book of references and look what emotions or what tensions in your consciousness or what's going on.
Like a true scientist.
Exactly. So I went to the ophthalmologist and she said to me that I had astigmatism and presbyopia. So farsightedness and astigmatism. Okay, so I went to my book and I went to look at what was the message of my body by developing these symptoms. And that was a moment of truth. I mean, it was not necessarily very comfortable what I had to read in the book. And basically what my eyes were telling me, and listen, I was the successful professor at the university, having had prizes and being in the editorial boards of international scientific research journals. And I had a brilliant career, and yeah, very fast, brilliant career. And my eyes were telling me, you are bored with your life. You are not doing what you're supposed to do.
Wow.
And you have been betraying yourself because this is not your soul's path. Take that. Wow. At 34, take that you're bored with your life. That's why you're not interested in seeing, and that you are betraying your soul's mission. Wow. So I really had to have a serious talk with myself, honest and truthful and authentic. And I had to recognize that indeed, this was not the academic per se path was not really what was most interesting for me. This had been a desire of my father to have a daughter that would be a scientist, and probably of my grandfather, who always wanted to have a kid that would be a university professor. And his direct children weren't. So I was like fulfilling this family wish, being loyal to this, let me see. Now, because we're speaking English, I don't find the words, but you know, in family constellations and psychogenealogics, they tell about this yeah, these family loyalties that you take projects that are not really yours just to please the
Yeah,
family.
absolutely. I work with this with my clients too around
Yeah,
vows. We create these vows of loyalty that we don't
exactly.
even know. We have these unconscious agreements
Exactly.
for our family. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had one of those and I was devoting myself to this family wish plan, but that was not my soul's desire. And I had to be honest with myself and recognize that actually what I love the most doing is, call it coaching, call it therapy, call it teaching, anyway, supporting other people towards their health and well-being. And of course there's many tools and frames to do that, but that's what makes my heart sing, when I can contribute to an increased well-being and health of people around me. And yeah, so I had to reconsider lots of things in my life, my involvement at the university and in academic research, and to what extent to continue with that or to do something completely different. And well, the journey has been kind of long, and now there's like a merging of both the scientific research, academic university work that I still teach at the university, and I'm still a professor at the university, but I have reoriented myself into what I would call experiential integrative clinical sociology, meaning that the way I do sociology nowadays has a clinical intention, meaning it's not research for the sake of research, just to publish a paper that will be in the library or yeah, uh, and in
I
the
love
drawer.
that. I love that you're
Yeah,
taking the research and the theory
yeah.
and what's worked and you're in the science and actually applying that to the real world.
Absolutely. I don't just want it to be in some archives or in a list of references that nobody cares about, but that it really has an impact on the well-being of people, in people's lives. So the way I do research is a very active kind of research, where the people participating in the research are actors with me. They also have their wisdom of their experience and they're sharing that. And we are creating contexts of activities, that's the experiential part, where I can share what I know about how vision works and how vision improves, and they can experience with it and practice and learn how it works, and I learn by their experiences as well. So it's a win-win situation. I do my research and they participate in the research and they see clear afterwards.
Incredible.
Yeah,
You're combining like the quantitative and the qualitative research.
exactly.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
And because it's integrative, it's multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary, meaning that as a sociologist, I can be interested about anything that humans have co-created, because sociology is about the collective human creation. And so basically almost everything that's relevant for human experience has been collectively co-created by humans. Of course, there's the environment and nature, and that's very important. But in terms of science and research and knowledge and tradition of healing, etc., that corpus of knowledge has been co-created by humans. So I do use everything that I'm aware of that is useful, whether it has been constructed with a scientific method, and there is a lot in ophthalmology, optometry, nutrition, posturology, epigenetics, neurosciences, psychology, anthropology, sociology, history. There's a lot of research information, scientific research information on how it's possible to improve your vision naturally, and what are the causes of the decrease of vision and how you can improve it. And there are also other traditions of knowledge that may be called non-scientific, but that still have really a long-term tradition of consistent results. And I also rely on those to help people improve their vision. And I'm very transparent about it. Like, this comes from this and this comes from that, and you can try it and test it and we can see how it works. And people can become actors of their own transformation, and they can be empowered to produce their own change instead of depending on external crutches like glasses or or surgery with all the inconveniences it
Yeah, or
has.
being a
Yeah.
victim and having to like hand over the power to somebody else.
Yeah, so they can own the understanding of the processes that are behind vision impairment and vision improvement, And then once they learn, they own the process and they can go on with it, and they can just have clear, perfect sight for the rest of their life. And by doing this journey of research, because, well, this third time when I improved my own vision at 34 was the starting point for my research into that direction. I have found different layers and levels at which you can improve your vision. So of course, you can do it with relaxation and exercises to stimulate the eyes, and that improves your vision. It's like if you want to be more flexible, you can do yoga, or if you want to play the piano, well, you practice and then you can do it. So the same works with your vision. If you practice with your eyes certain exercises, you will see better. And it is like that. You can, of course, improve your vision at the chemical, nutritional level, paying attention at what you eat. There's, of course, different kinds of foods that are very good for your eyesight. Everyone knows about carrots, and it's true, but not just carrots. Everything that has vitamin C, like oranges or kiwis, but also all the fruits and vegetables that are colorful have lots of, in Spanish we call them beta-carotenos. In English, probably it sounds similar.
Yes, anything containing beta carotene.
Exactly. So will be good for your eyesight, and also omega-3, like in salmon and other kinds of fish.
Yeah, oils, healthy oils.
Yes, exactly. So all those are very good for your eyesight. And even more important than the good nutrients, it's very important for you not to intoxicate your organism and to detox, because your eyes are your window. Yeah? What?
Oh, I'd love you to say more about that.
Yes, yes. So the eyes are the windows to your soul, but the eyes are also your windows to the liver. The quality of your eyesight and vision and eyes is very directly linked to the quality of your liver. And if your liver is having a hard time to handle the toxicity in your body, then one of the first organs that will show that is your eyes. So sometimes the decreasing eyesight at 40 is just the first indicator that you should be reconsidering your habits, because you're doing things to yourself that are not good to your health and not just your eyes. And one of the first things to see is that if you're eating too much sugar or flour or alcohol, or if you're smoking, or if you're having heavy metals, like sometimes they come with vaccines, and I know this is kind of controversial at this moment, and I'm not taking a position on that. Just find out for yourself and take your own, build your own opinion on that. But in any case, it's important to make sure that you're not bringing toxicity into your body, either through your skin or your breathing or your eating and drinking, because all that toxicity has to be handled by the liver. Also the kidneys and the lungs, but mainly the liver. And the more your liver has too much work, the more it's going to show in the quality of your eyesight. So so you can work at the physical level, at the chemical, nutritional level. You can also work at the emotional level, because as we said, we could consider any eye symptom as the expression of an emotional tension. And once the emotional tension is released, well, then it's not stored in the muscles around the eyeballs anymore, and then the eyes can do their focusing mechanism more easily. And I have done research personally on this topic, and finding that 82% of people can trace the origin of their vision impairment to a moment in their life that was particularly stressful. So vision decrease usually happens when there's something going on in your life that you haven't been able to handle or digest or integrate. And out of those 18% who weren't able to say something about it, 6% would say, no, nothing particular happened. My father died. No, nothing particular. I moved to another country. No, nothing particular. I can recall. I lost my job. So they are not saying something stressful happened, but there was. So we have
any range of trauma, really, from a really big stressful change in life to a trauma.
Yeah. Sometimes the change can be something like parents' divorce, but also it can be something like school started, or I changed from school to high school, or from high school to university, or I was looking for my first job, or I was a mother for the first time, or my brother was born. So they don't need to be sad situations, but they're situations of change that imply some kind of stress. Yeah. And so 88% of the people actually were mentioning stressful situations around the moment where vision started to decrease. And for the remaining 12, well, we don't know if there wasn't anything or they just didn't remember at this moment. They had some kind of psychological protection not to want to remember that. But anyway, even if it's not a universal rule, we're beyond the 80-20. Yeah, so because it's beyond the 80-20, it's definitely interesting to look if behind your eye symptom, your vision symptom, there is some emotional tension that you could release and get back your eyesight. And I know it works, because not only has it worked with myself, but with most of my students love this level of improvement. And then there's also people who are not very connected with their emotions, and they're not so interested in exploring emotions, but they're rather fascinated by everything that has to do with their mental abilities, like more, in the model, the physical, the emotional, and the mental types, the conceptual, the cognitive types. Well, for those, there's also a level of improvement, because the main organ of your vision are not your eyes, it's your brain. The eyes are taking light impulses and changing them into electric neuronal impulses. But everything that you see is an interpretation that's happening in your brain. And the optic nerve is connected to 85% of your brain. So how you see has more to do with what you believe, what you have learned, what you remember, how you were brought up, how you perceive the situation in this moment. Are you hungry? What emotions are going through you? What are you thinking about? What's your intention? Than about the light impulses arriving to your eyes. The brain erases about 20% of the light impulses that you do see. And we should say that we only perceive about 2% of the light spectrum. So there's much more out there than what we actually see or are able to perceive. And of what we are able to perceive, the brain will erase 20% of what we actually see. And then the brain reverses the image so that we see as things are, because anyone that knows anything about optics or cameras knows that the image is projected reverse. So the brain makes the correspondence with the 3D world that we live in, because it triangulates with the sense of touch. I mean, when you see something and you touch it, you know if it's up, if if the head is up or is down. Yeah, you can recognize it. So, and the brain also connects the impulses with their archives of beliefs, memories, learnings, shapes. If you see how we teach people the world, we show them this is a cat and this is a ball and this is a carrot. We show them shapes and we give them names. So we learn to see, we do learn to see. Upbringing has a very important fraction of it that is training people what to see and how to recognize shapes and concepts and objects. And so we can also transform that and enrich that those archives of shapes that we learn. So we can improve our vision immensely by training our brains to see more and more. And it has been also researched that people whose eyes do not change and do not improve, they can nevertheless see much better by their brain training, sorry. Making up words.
I'm always trying to.
Anyway, yeah, so we have the physical level, the chemical, nutritional level, we have the emotional level, we have the mental level, but we have other levels too that are also more subtle. Like we can also work with light and energy, because the whole seeing process depends on light. What the eyes capture is how light rays bounce on objects and reach, well, through several layers of transparent tissues that we have, which is amazing. The eyes are the only body parts that are transparent. This is like a miracle. And so that's the part of your body where the light can reach the deepest in you. And so in the retina, that's where light is changed into electrical neuronal impulses. So there's a lot that we can do with light to improve our vision. First, we need to understand that different of the light spectrum, different frequencies have different effects on the body. And for the eyes specifically, there's different color frequencies that are good for your eyes and others that are bad for your eyes, depending on the moment of the day, because the organism has to be adjusted to the circadian cycle of day and night. Exactly, it's different rhythms. And so one thing that has been researched and observed is that blue light and violet and ultraviolet light is harmful for your eyes. But red light is repairing for your eyes. So if you watch the sunset or when the sun rises in the morning at dawn, where the color of the sunlight is more yellow, orange, red, actually that has a repairing effect on your eyes.
And that's incredible. So blue light isn't so good for your eyes. And is that at any time of day?
Well, the interesting thing is that when you watch red light, not only does that repair your retina, but it strengthens it and it becomes much, much stronger, so that when your eyes are exposed to blue light, they're not damaged anymore. And about blue light, is it harmful any time of the day? Not really. In the middle of the day, and that's the moment when naturally there is more blue light, well, these different colors are the ones that tell our body what moment of the day it is, and they regulate our circadian cycle. Yeah. Now, we're supposed to see blue light in the middle of the day, not in the beginning and not in the end. When you're exposed to blue light in the middle of the day, this prevents myopia from developing. Children that cannot play outside in the sunlight, they develop myopia much faster than children that can play freely outside. And there's research about this done in Asia, in Japan, in Australia, where they have tested this. And in Australia, it has become compulsory for children at school to be outside, to have breaks and play outside so that they get sunlight and that they don't become myopic. So blue light is very good at the right time of the day. The problem is that with so much artificial light that we have, and bless technology, and bless that we have all these, yes, opportunities, but with screens from telephones and televisions and computers and tablets, usually they're LED lights and they're very blue. It's okay during the day, but in the morning and in the evening, you shouldn't have such white light, actually it's blue light, in your computers and screens going to your eyes, and also at home. And this is especially true in Europe, maybe not as much in other parts of the world. The incandescent and halogenous light bulbs have been banished because of economical energy reasons. Wow. And now we only have LED lights. And LED lights consume less energy, and that's nice because for the ecology, and that's very good for nature. But they mostly only contain blue light. So if you have LED lights at home in the evening, it's not good for you. There are other LED lights that you can change colors, and those would be much better to keep your eyes in good shape. And beyond this, like learning to have a good relationship with sunlight and artificial light so that you can keep your eyes and vision in good shape. There's also other dimensions with working with light and energy so that you can use it in your best benefit to improve your vision, to keep it healthy and improve it. And also there's another level of habits. you can look in a wrong way, and you're looking every day, you're gazing, looking, you're using your eyes to see every day, and you can have bad habits that are deteriorating your eyesight without you even noticing or knowing, or you can learn how to see properly, how to use your eyes properly. It won't take you more time than using them wrong. It takes exactly the same amount of time because you're looking anyway all day. But if you use your eyes properly, you develop habits with which your eyes automatically keep healthy and keep improving instead of getting worse and worse. So now my students, after 40 or 50, they see better and better instead of seeing worse and worse. And that's my case as well. So these 6 layers, and there's a couple of other surprises, but these 6 layers are the main pillars of my clear sight method. Yeah, and it has developed well, with my personal experience, with my research, and also, of course, I have been trained in a couple of different vision improvement methods with certified professors, and well, and now I'm a certified vision teacher, and I'm certifying myself other vision teachers at this moment in Spanish. I think I have students who are becoming vision teachers from like 12 or 15 countries at the moment. Many of them in Spain, but there's also, I'm certifying people in Latin American countries where there weren't anyone knowing about vision improvement. So they will be the first ones bringing vision improvement to different countries in Latin America. Yay! Yeah, and my aim is really to bring this new vision, new because it's 100 years old. The pioneer was started 100 years ago, but still most people don't know about it. So it's really bringing this new vision to the world, and with the awareness that 1/3 of the world population, before the pandemic, 1/3 of the world population had vision problems, and the OMS considers that 80% of those could be solvable. And we know from the research in vision improvement that probably it's more than 80% of them. And the thing is that in 2020, with the pandemic, with people being afraid and emotions get stored in your eyes, with people moving less because they're at home and being less exposed to sunlight because they're at home, and being anxious either because of their health or because of their job. I mean, there's lots of factors that have been going against good vision in these past months. And actually in Spain, there's been research about this, and the outcome of the research by an optometric association is that 76% of Spanish people report their vision having decreased during the months of the lockdown. So there really is a lot of good work that we can do with people so that they can recover their eyesight and they can be empowered to own the process and the method and the tools so that they can see with their own eyes without having to, depend on external crutches like glasses or have surgery, because glasses actually progressively deteriorate your eyesight. You become more and more dependent. And with surgery, well, sometimes it goes well, but sometimes there's mistakes by doctors, and there's people who have other problems, or the eyes get dry or irritated, or they have aberrations. Sometimes they even they become blind by the operation itself, by the surgery, or they can cause later problems like keratoconus. When you have refractive surgery, it's the first cause of developing keratoconus afterwards.
Or like
and cataracts as well. Some
yeah.
cataracts, it's a different symptom, but cataracts are very often developed also because of an earlier refractive error. And the thing is that if people don't solve the underlying cause, the symptom will come back again. Because if the underlying cause was an emotional strain and there was an adaptive reaction of the body to the situation, but you haven't solved the situation, well, even if you get surgery and you still have the stressful situation and you still have the same adaptive response, the body will recreate the same symptom. And if you have bad habits, the symptom will come back. If you forget to blink enough or to look far enough, or other good habits that you need to have a good eyesight, even if you get surgery, actually 54% of people who get surgery have to wear glasses again for the same or different symptoms. So it's not really a good solution. And depending on your health systems of your country, it's also, sometimes in some countries it's for free, but in many countries it's extremely expensive to get eye surgery. And then you need glasses again, which are also very expensive. So isn't it better to take the time to learn how to use your eyes properly and keep yourself from all the inconveniences of having to depend on ever stronger glasses and feeling that you're less able and less healthy and less free and more dependent? Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely, yes.
yeah. And when I see the transformation of my students, like many of them are beyond 50, 60, 70, 80, and they were feeling like less and less healthy and less free and less able, like they're declining in life, and then they start seeing better and better, and they can get back to putting makeup on, or driving their car, or reading the products at the supermarket with all the small print and knowing what's in them, or playing an instrument without the glasses bothering them. And well, this is one of the examples that for me is the most touching, when I have old ladies say, I can see the faces of my grandchildren again. Well, I want to cry when I hear people say these things. I want to cry out of joy, and it's possible. So yeah, so I'm here to share about this and spread the word. And of course, if you want to test it, you can. And if you don't, well, you're free to do so. But at least know that there's an opportunity, that there's an option to get back your eyesight, that you don't need to be dependent on glasses or to have to take the risks of surgery.
So inspiring. And I love your work. I love what you do, and I love your story. You created this incredible transformation and change in your own life and for so many people around the world. And that's why I wanted to invite you, so that you could share your work. So yes, and you're such a leader, because you have taken full responsibility for your own change, your own transformation. And you were saying earlier, my identity. You decided, I'm going to choose an empowering identity. I'm going to choose an empowering people around me, empowering professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I wouldn't wonder if you can share a little bit more about that. That's just incredible that you were like, no, I'm tearing up the prescription. And of course, we always, go see the professional. We're not saying don't use any medical professional help, always get professional help. But what was it in your that you were so strong and able to say, you know what, my identity is someone who sees clearly?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I had some points that for me in taking that decision. Like, one of them is that I was already choosing to pursue a scientific career. And in science, you're supposed to find causes to mechanisms and to ask yourself questions of why things work the way they work, and to be critical about given answers and go beyond what's obvious and go beyond the given answers. That's the proper of science, to know even more, even further, even better, even more precise. And well, I had that curiosity. Well, that's one of the good parts of these family loyalties. So I kept that. Um, and then also I had for me that I had had an experience almost since birth, and that this experience had been told to me over and over, and that really solidified as my identity. And behind this first experience was also a figure of authority of my grandfather, medical doctor, very highly reputed. Yeah. And even if I actually learned again that the ophthalmologist was a professor at the university, that's something that I didn't know for many years. It has been just reminded in the recent years by my parents, like, oh, and she was a professor at the University of Granada. I'm like, oh, okay. So that didn't play a role in the moment, but I had like my grandfather, my early experiences, my interest in science that were there with me to say, well, I'm not going to buy just prêt-à-porter kind of solution when it's not going to the cause, to the root cause. I want to understand the cause. And then when I understand the cause, well, I can find a solution. Yeah, so I would say to people, trust your intuition, trust yourself, pay attention at your body, be kind to yourself, really observe yourself and take yourself as your highest authority on your own life and your own experience. And of course, you can take opinions from others, and maybe they're informed opinions by professionals, but the last word on on yourself, on your life, on your health, on your body should be your own decision. You should never give away your power there. Well, at least that's how I see things. And of course, people are free to do whatever they like. But if I could suggest or advise or invite to something, it would be that, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's just incredible and fabulous. And how, so it sounds like you were able to build this identity and choose this empowering story because you've heard this before. You heard the story being told to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you made a decision. I'm gonna choose. No, you're like, no, 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 wait. This is who I am, and this is the story I'm gonna choose to tell myself. I can see near and far. I can see in the dark and in the light. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is phenomenal, hugely, and I really encourage your audience to really take that away and see how they can apply this
Yeah.
advice from Dr. Ainhoa.
Can I say two more things on this?
Of course,
There's,
please do.
there's this quote that's attributed to Henry Ford. Uh, and it's probably going to be approximate, not the exact wording, but the idea is if you believe that you can, it's true. And if you believe that you cannot, it's true. What are you going to choose? So whatever you decide or you choose to believe is true in your experience. So then it's an invitation to always choose beliefs that are uplifting, that are empowering, that are freeing, that bring clarity. It's just a smart decision. It's a smart choice. And
Yeah.
another idea, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 please do.
And another idea is that what one human being is able to accomplish, any other human being is able to accomplish if they learn, if they have the good information, if they have the method, and they take the time to apply it, if they have the engagement, the commitment to apply it. But we have the same hardware and the same software. So what any human being can accomplish, any other human being can accomplish if they decide to, if they choose to. And you were going to say something.
I love it so much. I just love it. And I just wanted to add that I was just agreeing with you and saying, yes, let's choose an identity and the story and the emotions that are going to be empowering. We have that choice. Why not make it something good and supportive and empowering for us? I love that so much. Just phenomenal, Ainhoa.
Yeah, and then it's important too to have show cases of examples of success stories, of testimonials of people who have done it, who have achieved it, because the more we share those stories, the more we help other people empower themselves and say, yes, I can do it. You know, when the 100-meter
The dash, the run, sprint, yeah.
yes, in the Olympics, and that's like one of the high moments of the Olympic Games. For a very long time, it was not possible to do it under 10 seconds. A very, very long time, because people had limiting beliefs about it. Once the first man ran the 100 meters faster than 10 seconds, in months, weeks, in a very short time, there were 3 or 4 of them doing it as well. So it's important that we show the example of what's possible, and then all these limiting beliefs are broken in people's minds and they're in their identities, and then we are more and more and more people being able to achieve those results. And because of that, in early 2021, I'm going to create another summit on vision improvement. And I have over 20 recordings of interviews. We may get up to 30 people, and they're like from 15 different countries around the world. There's people from, of course, Spain, France, the UK, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, the USA, Argentina, Mexico, and I'm probably forgetting, we have people from New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, maybe Singapore, Japan, and I'm probably forgetting countries. I mean, I want to show that this is possible, and it's possible for anyone, and it's possible anywhere in the world for people from any walks of lives. And I want to show it with the examples of many other colleagues that also do an amazing work. We are there, we've been there for 100 years. And if you want to see clear again, you can do it too. It's just, what do you choose? What do you want?
That is phenomenal, I know. And just to let the audience know, I'm going to be putting the links below to your work for all our Spanish-speaking, amazing Spanish-speaking audience to go and find out more about you, Ainhoa, go find out more about natural vision and the improvement method, the clear sight method that you've developed, and to reach out with you and work with you and apply to find out more about your courses. So all the links will be below this interview, and that's why I wanted to bring you on, because you're such a leader, such an example of what's possible and how you can change your life with, you know, using what you have. So this has been huge pleasure and a huge joy.
Can I add just a little more thing?
Hey, go for it.
Yes, thank you. Well, if you participate in that forum or in the activities that will be coming, not only will you learn about how you can improve your own eyesight through the magic of internet tools, but you could, if you choose to, support a project to bring natural vision improvement to children that live in poor environments where the internet doesn't reach and where they don't even have access to the more standard eye care procedures like glasses or surgery. So if you allow me to show just a little video of the work that we've been doing in Mexico. 7 years ago, I had a very hard time in my life because I was pregnant of a baby that was going to be blind. And I lost that baby, and I couldn't help her with her own vision. And well, when I was more dead than alive, I went to Mexico, and in Mexico I connected again with healing and the passion for vision improvement, etc. So to thank Mexico for saving my life at the moment, I created this Visionary Children project. So to bring natural vision improvement to kids living in poor environments, starting in Mexico, but going beyond. And I'm so happy to say that we have already started with this project, and this is what we have been doing in the last weeks. So if you would like not only to see better with your own eyes, but to help also kids in poor environments do as much, you can get interested about this work and participate in spreading the mission and the vision of clear sight for everyone. Yeah, well, I'm so proud of this having taken place already that thank you for the opportunity. I couldn't keep myself from showing this. So thank you, Mexico, and thank you, Shona. And if you notice, it's fun and it's easy to improve your vision. You can do it playing games.
I love that so much. I know that's why I'm so so grateful that you've shared this with our audience. And anyone who wants to support Ainhoa, please go ahead, click the links below this interview, and to work with her, to find out more, to support her. This is phenomenal work. Everyone can make a difference. And if you know someone who has vision impairments or problems with their eyesight, please forward this interview to them. Invite them, let them see this incredible story that Ainhoa is sharing, and share the resources with them. Let's be generous and spread the word about how people can change their lives in a positive way, and it doesn't have to take years or cost a lot of money.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, dear Shona, for this opportunity, and all the best with this amazing summit that you are putting together, helping lots of people, be empowered in their own life, and and have more leadership over themselves and others. Thank you so much.
Yay! You're welcome, Ainhoa. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.